Welcome to the Empower Her podcast. I'm Deanna, an ex-corporate manager turned certified coach, empowering you to create the life of your dreams. My goal is to guide you and support you in understanding what you really want in life, what steps to take to get there, and learn to actually enjoy the ride. Whether you are climbing the corporate ladder, a stay-at-home parent, or an entrepreneur, I coach you on how to believe you are worthy of a balanced, happy, and energetically positive life in work and at home. My goal in this podcast is to help you recognize patterns, implement change, and use your energy for positivity within yourself and your own life. I believe you don't have to suffer in this lifetime. You can create a life on your terms based on what you want, regardless of what that looks like. It is about reframing your beliefs, letting go of negative thoughts, and looking at your life as a set of opportunities there for you. I'm so excited to get started. Hello, and welcome back to the Empower Her podcast. Hi, everyone. I missed the date a few weeks ago, but I just had my 1-year anniversary of podcasting. I literally can't believe it. This is episode 53, and I think I skipped like 1 or 2, and there was like Christmas and stuff, but yeah, crazy. 1 year. I'm so it's crazy. It's so surreal. Thank you so much for being here, especially if you've been here from the beginning, but even if not, thank you for being here. I've learned so much about podcasting that I just didn't know before. I love listening to podcasts. If you ever need recs, by the way, besides mine, obviously, I have lots of podcast recs, and I just love, this is such a good way for me to chat with y'all and talk long form, and I've been loving it so much, and it feels really personal without feeling like I'm talking to, 100 people in a room, even though, so many of you are listening. So thank you for being here. It's Thanksgiving week. I'm so excited, even though I'm in Europe and won't be officially celebrating. It's also the start of Sagittarius season, end of November, which I'm super excited about. If you're not on the newsletter, definitely get on the newsletter because I send out a newsletter every Monday, and I do give astrology updates every month about which new sun sign we're in and the energy. So I do talk about Sagittarius energy. You can go on my website at coachdeannadebolt.com to sign up for the newsletter. It's once a week. I talk a lot about the topics that we talk about in the podcast, plus I have some other sections in there that are usually different tips, tricks, journal prompts, astrology, basically anything that I want to share with y'all. So definitely get the newsletter if you're not subscribed. And it's Thanksgiving week, as I mentioned. I think it's such a beautiful holiday in terms of, now, obviously, we know a lot of the background of Thanksgiving, but just the modern way we celebrate, I think is really beautiful because it's one of the only holidays I feel like where it's really about family and not giving gifts, but it's more about just being together, eating good food together, spending time together, and it's super fun. Like for us, when I was growing up, Thanksgiving, my mom would always make a big deal of it. We had friends always come down, or family members that would come down and stay with us, spend Thanksgiving with us. So I've always really enjoyed Thanksgiving. I've always found it to be a really fun holiday. And obviously I love to eat, so I love Thanksgiving food, so I will be missing it. My mom always makes a pumpkin cheesecake pie, which I can no longer eat because, as some of you may know, I talk about it sometimes, but I'm unfortunately dairy-free because I have a very big dairy intolerance. But before I knew I had a dairy intolerance, I would eat it, and it's like the best thing ever. And then, of course, the turkey or the chicken. Sometimes we'll do chicken because turkeys are massive. The sauces, the carrots, mashed potatoes, the rolls. Ugh, I love a roll. I love a roll. So I will not be having Thanksgiving this year because I'm not in the States. And, Thanksgiving is during the week normally everywhere, but we don't have a bank holiday here in Europe. So I will not be celebrating, but I will be celebrating in my heart. And maybe I'll do like a mini Thanksgiving dinner at home with me and the hubs and just do something kind of similar just to maybe get the feeling of Thanksgiving. But since we're talking about Thanksgiving this week, I thought what a perfect time to do an episode about gratitude. And I talk about this all the time, that gratitude is really the basis of manifesting, of abundance, of living a happy life. And I talk a lot about, how to practice gratitude. I have so many videos on it. I've done podcast episodes on it. Today, I want to talk more about like the science behind it. So what gratitude actually does to us physically, emotionally, spiritually from a science perspective, because it's really hard sometimes to grasp. And as much as I'm spiritual and as much as I believe in all of that, I also like the data. I also like the science. For me, it's important, and I know for a lot of you as well. So I really wanted to talk about the science behind gratitude today and why it's important. And then I have some journal prompts at the end that you can do this week. But it's such a good week to just tune inward. The end of Scorpio season, which is really about inward reflection. It's a really great time to reflect and then jump into Sagittarius season, which is more about doing, expanding. It's a fire sign. It's about taking action, energy, being around people. So it's really a great time to reflect after the end of Scorpio season and then move into Sagittarius season, especially with the holidays, especially with the new year coming up. Y'all are going to be blasted. Get ready. I already saw a TikTok today about, it was like the 2024 wrap up TikTok. And I was like, oh my God, it started. It's literally not even Thanksgiving yet because I'm recording this a few days before. And I'm like, it's already starting. So y'all are going to be seeing a lot of those types of videos. I don't want you to feel disheartened. I will be doing an episode about like goal setting and things like that later on before the new year and for the new year. I always talk about those topics. I think it's super important and it's helpful, especially if you want to hear about it. But, I don't want you to get bogged down and feel that stress and pressure. So let's focus on gratitude this week. Some interesting, science behind gratitude that you can learn, and then we'll do some journal prompts at the end. So let's talk about what gratitude looks like and the effect that it has. So I have several points of kind of research that I did on the science of gratitude, and I want to talk about what that looks like. So the first thing is that gratitude rewires the brain for positivity and opportunity. Okay, so neuroplasticity is, I'm going to be using some terms here. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to actually rewire itself based on our experiences we're having, thoughts that we have, things that we say, right? So your brain is constantly changing, and practicing gratitude or being grateful actually strengthens the neural pathways associated with positive emotions and optimism. So the more gratitude you practice, the more your neural pathways are going to be strengthened and are going to be associated with those positive emotions, right? So what this is going to do is it's actually going to shift us towards a more hopeful mindset, which is what we want. Besides this as well, we're also talking about dopamine and serotonin, which two neurotransmitters these two are associated with reward, pleasure, happiness. Dopamine and serotonin are released when we feel grateful. So if these are released, then we feel pleasure, happiness, and reward. So over time, the more we feel dopamine and serotonin, these bursts of energy are actually going to encourage the brain to seek out more opportunities. So that's why we always say, like, if you're grateful, even when you don't feel like it, you're going to start to actually feel grateful, and then more grateful, and then more and more and more grateful. And then the majority of what you feel is going to be grateful, right? Like that's kind of how this works from a science perspective. So really the first point here is like your brain is being rewired so that you are actually open to opportunity. So this is why manifestation works, right? Because if you're grateful, like let's just say you're manifesting a new job, right? And you're saying, and you're being grateful today for what you have. Like, I'm grateful that I have a paying job. I'm grateful that I have, friends at work, right? Even if it's not your dream job, even if you want a new job with a higher salary, you're still being grateful for what you have. I'm grateful that I can apply to jobs, right? I'm grateful I have time to look on LinkedIn. I'm grateful I have a laptop to be able to edit my resume, right? Then your brain is going to start looking for more positive and rewarding opportunities. And that's what's going to get you that new job, because you're going to be open to applying for the job you didn't think, or open to networking with someone you didn't think and they have an open position, right? That's how it works. The second point is that gratitude actually lowers stress and increases resilience. So gratitude has actually been shown to reduce levels of the stress hormone cortisol. We talk about cortisol a lot, right? Like when you're in a stress state and you have high cortisol, you can't think as clearly. But gratitude actually reduces the level of cortisol and stress, which means that you have improved mental clarity, you can make better decisions, and you have increased resilience, right? Because at the end of the day, when we lower our stress, we basically create more room in our brain to recognize and pursue opportunities, right? Think about it. Let's say someone is chasing you, right? Like someone is, and it's negative. Like you're so stressed that that's all you can think about is getting away from that person. That's all you can think about. But when you feel gratitude, you're lowering the stress level, right? You're lowering that level so that you can look at other things. And obviously this is like an extreme example of someone chasing you, but let's take money, right? Let's say you have a credit card that you can't pay off right now, right? That's an example that I was dealing with. And I would feel really stressed about not being able to pay off my credit card and having, quote unquote credit card debt. I don't call it debt anymore because that's a negative language, but I call it it was really an investment in my business is why I needed to use the credit card. But let's say the credit card debt is causing you stress, right? So when you have gratitude, you're lowering your stress towards that thing of the credit card debt. And then you're actually creating more opportunity for you to make more money. So I noticed that when I worked on my money mindset, and I reduced my stress towards money, and I started to feel grateful for everything I had, I started to make more money because I was no longer focusing so much attention on, oh my God, my credit card bill, I don't have money, I was focusing on, okay, how can I get more coaching clients? How can I get more opportunities, right? So it allows your brain to actually focus on other things as well. The third thing is that gratitude activates the reticular activating system, otherwise known as the RAS. So the RAS is basically a bundle of nerves that you have at the brainstem, and it filters sensory information and helps us focus on what we deem important. Okay. So the RAS is nerves, and it helps us filter what's important. And then gratitude helps train the RAS, so helps train those bundle of nerves to be more attuned to positive possibilities and resources aligned with our goals. So again, it's like what we talked about in number 1. The more gratitude you have, the more your brain is actually going to focus on gratitude. And then when we focus more on what we're grateful for, the RAS is going to notice things in our environment that affirm the sense of abundance rather than affirm a sense of lack, right? So again, the more you focus on positivity, abundance, gratitude, the more you're going to see positivity, abundance, and gratitude. And this will lead to the greater awareness of opportunities that support our goals. So again, this is why manifesting works. This is why gratitude works, because you're focusing on those positive, abundant things, and then you're going to see more of it. And again, I just want to preface by saying we're not talking about positive, toxic positivity here, or saying that you have to be happy all the time. No, that's bullshit, honestly. Like nobody can be happy all the time. And if you were, you wouldn't recognize when you were happy because you'd just be in the same state all the time. This is talking about having a generally like half glass full approach to life, having an abundant approach to life, right? The saying that, the universe is doing everything in your favor, or if you believe in God, or that you are open to opportunities, right? That's what we're saying with this. It's not the toxic positivity. Number 4 is that gratitude enhances relationships and social connections. So gratitude fosters a positive and reciprocal energy in relationships, which is so important when we're talking about building supportive networks, right? Because the thing is when we express genuine appreciation to other people are then often more willing to help us or support us, right? Like if we're grateful to other people and express gratitude and appreciation to other people, then they're more likely to help us. Like a prime example of this is I live in Hungary, and people here are notoriously negative, like notoriously. And, when you go like the cash register at a store, like people aren't the friendliest. And I remember one time I was at the cash register and there was this girl there. She was probably like, I don't even know, like 20, 25. And she looked like she was in a really bad mood. And like, she wasn't rude to me, but like, she wasn't the nicest when, she was checking out our stuff. And I just looked at her and I said, oh my God, your ring is so pretty, because she had such a pretty ring. The second I said that to her, her face lit up and she was completely different after that. And she was so kind and so sweet. So my like generosity, my appreciation towards her, she reciprocated it right back. Right. And again, we shouldn't be doing gratitude, with the idea of, oh, I'm just giving gratitude because I want something back. No, obviously not. But we want to put positive energy into the world because, we believe that then we'll get positive energy back in one way or another. And just on this, there were studies that showed that people who were more grateful tend to have stronger social bonds and experience more collaborative interactions. So the social abundance that people felt can contribute directly to emotional and financial abundance as well. This was in a study. It's very, very interesting. And again, it's just all the same thing that we're talking about is the more you give positive energy, abundant energy, the more you're going to get it back, period. The next point is that gratitude increases motivation and reduces fear of failure, which I thought was so interesting. So practicing gratitude often increases your self-worth and confidence because it's reinforcing the good we already have, right? So you practicing gratitude about all the things around you is actually going to boost your self-worth and your self-confidence, right? Because you're like, oh, for example, if you feel like you don't have money, but then you start being abundant with money. I have this, I have that, I've paid for this, I live in, I have a roof over my head, I have a phone, I have a laptop, like then you're going to feel more confident in yourself because you're like, yeah, I did that. I got all these things. I was able to pay for these things or whatever. I manifested them. And it's going to boost your confidence and your self-worth as well. And then with less fear and more resilience, people will feel more empowered to take action towards their goals, right? Which is a key element in manifesting outcomes. So confidence and self-worth are also naturally going to attract more positive experiences in people and therefore reduce fear of failure, which is super interesting because you're not in that lack mindset, you're in that abundance mindset. And again, it isn't saying like, oh, I'm great at everything, everything's always going to work out. No, what you're saying is that regardless of what happens, I'm going to figure it out. And I'm going to be okay. And I'm still going to have a roof over my head at the end of the day, right? If that's your story, that's what we're saying here with this. So that's super interesting. And then the last point is that gratitude promotes generosity and expansive thinking. So when we feel grateful in general, we're then more likely to actually act generously. So it's almost like fake it till you make it, like fake the smile and then you'll start feeling happy. It's like you're being grateful, you're saying these things that you're grateful for, and then you're more likely to act generously, which can then create a cycle of giving and receiving. So if we're thinking of the collective energy, if we all were more grateful, we would then give more gratitude and be more generous, and then people would give it back to us, and it would just be this like very positive, abundant cycle going back and forth of reciprocity. There's the law of reciprocity, which basically is, which basically talks about this, and kindness leads to positive returns. Gratitude leads to you being more generous and then getting it back. That's just how the law works. And studies have shown that gratitude enhances expansive thinking. So it basically enhances your ability to think big and creatively. So this can lead obviously to more creative ideas, innovative ideas, possibilities that align with manifesting your dreams, your goals, and more abundance as well. So I really wanted to share the science behind this because I think it's so fascinating to see that not only does it change the way your brain functions, but also studies show, the effect, the positive effect that gratitude can have on people and how they live their lives. And if we're talking about manifesting, people often think, or maybe they don't think that gratitude is one of the easiest things you can do. Even just, every morning you wake up and in your head, you say 3 things you're grateful for, journal about it. Like those are small things that you can do that are going to make a massive, massive difference. So the goal is that, you don't need to be toxically positive all the time, right? Like that's not what we're talking about. But we are talking about coming from a place of gratitude and coming from a place of abundance. So I want to give you a journal prompt that you can do this. So get out a pen, paper, put it in your phone, whatever works for you. I would do this journal prompt like maybe do a little meditation before or take a walk before, just kind of feel zen before you do it if possible. Okay, so I'm going to give you the journal prompt, and it is, what is something small or simple that brought me joy today, and why am I grateful for it? Okay, so one thing or small, simple thing that brought you joy today, and why are you grateful for it? And then after you've written that down, a follow-up question to this is, how can I bring more of this into my life? So the goal here is to understand something that brought you joy, something you're grateful for, and then how can you have more of this in your life? How can we bring more of that energy into your life? Such a good prompt for this week with Thanksgiving and gratitude. I love talking about this. It's such an important topic and something that's really doesn't require a lot of energy and time, but has a massive, massive return if we're talking about happiness, abundance, positivity, manifesting your goals and dreams, all of those. So hopefully this was helpful. Let me know in the DMs on Instagram if you want to share with me, how it went, how you felt this week, anything that you want to share it with gratitude. I hope y'all have an amazing Thanksgiving. If you're celebrating, eat lots of food for me. I'm so excited for all of you to eat all the fun Thanksgiving food. Have an amazing week. I'm sending you so much positive energy, some gratitude energy. I'm super grateful for all of you being here, and I'll catch you in the next episode. And if you love this episode, don't forget to follow the podcast and leave a review. And of course, you can follow me at Coach Deanna DeBolt on TikTok and Instagram. I'll catch you next time.